Behind the Shades.
How are some of the ways that you help men, or even men and women? How are some of the ways that you help them overcome that? Because that seems a daunting task, especially when it's reached to the point where, as you mentioned, I'm no longer in control of it. It's controlling me.
Yeah, well, one thing that I think really perks men's ears up is the fact when I say you can experience over 10 different forms of orgasm. You've only been experiencing one of those your entire life. So that's an incentive, right? To explore that. I teach men how to become multi-orgasmic. And this in turn allows them to also experience a lot of the healing benefits of pleasure and of their sexual experience, because for someone that is having sex the same way their whole lives, they only know one form of orgasm, they don't feel fulfilled, right? And that fulfillment oftentimes develops into anxiety and depression and mental and emotional disturbance in their lives, which is affecting, right, the way that they view the world around them. So this is just how important pleasure and sex are in relationship to living a healthy life and also having a healthy, sustained mental, emotional, physical self. So yeah, some of the ways again that I work with men is for them to learn about what orgasm actually means about for them, right? What does orgasm actually mean to you? What are the goals and desires that you actually see yourself having from the sexual experiences? Because there has to be a willingness to also change. You have to jump into it saying, I'm ready to go all in, even if it's not going to be easy, because it's not just all rainbows and orgasms, that's a healing process too. But knowing that what you might be able to receive out of this, I think is a huge is a really, really big thing that we can start to work towards, is more connection, more joy, more pleasure. And that's what we all desire. So, and I work with women in a similar way. A lot of women depend on toys, for example, and, they're not experiencing the full arousal process. So again, you're not going to be able to experience over 15 different forms of orgasm that women can if you're just using the toy every single time. You're not able to connect deeply to your partner if you have a partner. And all of these combinations affect us so much when it comes to our pleasure and overall joy. So we have to look at, again, from like this really big holistic perspective.
It's raining here in Toronto, Canada, so I'm wishing for less rainbows and more orgasms. Telling you that. You mentioned something that piqued my curiosity, and I almost leapt. I want to jump out of my chair. 10 different forms of orgasms? So have I been looking at the world one way? So when you say 10 different forms, what can you list the different forms, or can you help educate me? Because I'm really, really interested when you said that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, some of those can be becoming multi-orgasmic, meaning um, you could have climactic orgasms without ejaculation. So a big part of this for men is first being able to slow down your sexual experience and extend it over a period of time. The second part of this is being able to separate orgasm from ejaculation, because for most men's bodies, those are that's one thing, right? You ejaculate and that means you're having an orgasm. But in the tantric tradition, we are separating, those two phases of ejaculation, which means when we do that, we have this whole span of orgasmic potential in between those two states, right? And that doesn't mean that you can never have an ejaculatory orgasm. In fact, it means that you could be experiencing even more pleasurable orgasms without the ejaculation, which means that you're also restoring and revitalizing all of that semen that would have otherwise been expelled, and you can now learn to transmute that through your body for the benefits of healing your entire system and all of the health benefits related to that. So some of these different orgasms can be, men can experience prostate orgasm. That's very, very healthy. And I know that a lot of men have this thing about the anus and not being able to go near it, but you can also stimulate the prostate externally as well. So there's a lot of different types of orgasms we can experience. Men can experience blended orgasms. So you can have non-ejaculatory prostate orgasm, you can have whole body orgasm, you can have energy body orgasms, and the list goes on.
I think I almost shed a tear. I don't know if you caught that when you said the prostate orgasm. I'm like, oh Lord, help me, please. But you're right. You're right. There is it's so fascinating how if you have an open mind, and I think that's truly probably the first step. If you have an open mind, you can achieve orgasm, like you said, in so many different ways, where some of those ways don't even include with you experiencing an ejaculation for men. For women, do they have the same type where they can experience different types of orgasm?
Yeah, so like I mentioned just a moment ago, is women can experience over 15 different forms of orgasm. So I think that for a lot of women, we're mostly just focusing on the clitoris, the external clitoris, actually. For example, the clitoris actually extends underneath the tissue. So you have clitoral legs, clitoral bulbs that are also erectile tissue, and that can be incredibly pleasurable when stimulated externally. So we're kind of missing out on the arousal process because women take anywhere from 25 to 45 minutes to become fully engorged, fully aroused, meaning that their erectile tissue is filling with blood, right? So just like a man, when you have an erection, it's right, your erection is filled with blood. That's erectile tissue. Women are the same exact way, and we just need time to also fill, right, and engorge that erectile tissue in order to experience sensation. So I think that a lot of times sex is rushed, and also we don't have the sexual education to learn how to stimulate different areas of the vagina, for example, in ways that also promote pleasure and sensation. So a big one of those is the G-spot. I did a whole workshop, hour-and-a-half workshop just on the G-spot alone. And this is an area for women that stores a lot of emotions and stores trauma. I also like to mention from a spiritual perspective, in Tibetan Buddhism, we believe that we store past life memories in our genitals, in our sexual center. So we're working with a lot of different components here when we talk about orgasm and pleasure. It has to be a healing process. We can't jump straight to having better orgasms without moving through this, holistic healing process as well. So again, one of those is G-spot orgasm. And the best way to stimulate the G-spot is through pressure and not friction. But a lot of women fall for the belief that they're just going to buy a G-spot vibrator and they're going to be able to have G-spot orgasms and squirt. And then when that doesn't happen, they think that something is wrong with them and that they're broken. And it's just, G-spot vibrators they're a scam, because the G-spot does not engorge, it does not fill with blood, and you don't get a lot of sensation just from friction alone. In fact, a lot of women will say that it's painful for them. They experience a lot of irritation in that area. To experience G-spot orgasm, A-spot orgasm, P-spot orgasm, we have to know the anatomy and how to stimulate those areas in a way that is beneficial to experience more pleasure and sensation.